This is what my first weld looked like, and that's after not welding for a long time. And yeah. So here is the basic structure. This is where the first part of the lift arm goes, and this is where the second arm goes, the tilt one. And as you can see, I just tacked it in there. Haven't finished my welds. And so this one's a little more further along. I've fully welded around that one, and I haven't welded on the inside, but I gotta do that. I'll weld until the machine shuts off, which only has a duty cycle of 4%. Having to redo this one, I had to cut it out because I welded through the top of it, and it just melted instantly. I was amazed. I guess I had the welder turned up too high. So I'm going to redo this one. So I got this, and it's going to weld here. And see, there's going to be a place for a pipe right there. And yeah, I'll weld that all together. And that'll be for the small tilt arm. I might think about putting some type of bracketry in there to keep it from folding over time. Alright, here we go. Weld it all together. This is actually the other one first. But I keep the pin in there so I can make sure it still moves correctly. And I might have to take a rasp to the inside of the pipe just a little bit. But yeah, definitely some ugly welds. But I'll clean them up and weld on top of them and clean them up and smack them with a hammer and get rid of any slag. But that's basically how the piece is going to look. Just going to be two of these, one on each side. So I'll finish welding this up, and I might dry fit it on the machine to make sure everything's correct. Just kind of mock it up. I go ahead and put the pin in it, although it's not welded at all. And I'll tack it there first, tack it there, and then I'll tack one there on the pipe, and then I'll complete all my welds. And I still got to beat all my welds with a hammer or tap them with a screwdriver and see if there's any hollow points, and then weld them again and weld them again, whatever. But that one fits on the machine pretty good. So almost ready. I'm thinking about putting a piece of metal going this way, because my biggest fear, not necessarily that it's going to fold or anything, that maybe one of these bushings pops out. And so, you know, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. Yeah. This one's been tack welded there, which is broken. And there. And that was when I set the arms of it on there and lined it up and everything. This one I've started welding all the way from here, this way. Crappy welds. And my welder only has a duty cycle of 4%, so it shuts itself off when it gets hot. So I'm going to continue to weld, then take a break. So here we go. About to finish up this welding job. You can see some of them look pretty good, some of them don't look so good. But what I'll do is I'll go back over a couple of them. A couple of welds are kind of like to fill a void. I call it slack tiding because there's like a ½ inch gap in there because it dips down, and so I just kind of let the weld fall in there like it drips, and then I'll weld a prettier weld on top. See that bumblebee? He was flying around and I thought he left, and evidently while I was welding he jumped into the flame and burned himself alive. But basically done. I just got a little bit more to do. Just a little bit more. See, I welded there and there and all the way around basically. And I think they should hold because, you know, I welded this the same way when I built this attachment. And you can see those welds haven't cracked yet, and that's good. And so I think I probably could do a pretty good job welding. So you can see how many rods I went through on my buds. Probably. These are good for filling a gap, by the way. If you have a really big gap, stick a couple of those in there, and as soon as you touch them with the stinger, they melt and fills that gap better. But I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and a couple on the ground, so probably about 20 rods just mounting this to the bucket. Which I am a little worried because this arm right here, there's a little bit of a, I would say it got hit or something or twisted, and so this whole thing pulls a little bit. But luckily I actually have a bent pin which might correct that and make it where it'll fit. And if you look here, I didn't have the original bushing, so I took a piece of 3/4 PVC piping and hammered it in there, and that makes a snug fit. And I think that'll work. Be good for a while. So yeah, about ready. Just a little bit more welding, and I'll put around there and see if I can break these welds. I don't think they'll break. Yeah, I'll probably have to save it for another video, but I need to work on this bucket. That is terrible. Broke. There's a brake line all the way across. It's really twisted, and I need to, I guess, I don't know if I need to cut that out or just put a piece of angle iron on top there and weld it around. Because I know if I get to cutting sections out, it might be might be more trouble than it's worth. Considering this is a, you know, this bucket probably is only good for gravel and chips, wood chips and stuff like that. It's a very large bucket for this skid steer. It's a 60-inch, and it's about 2 feet tall. It's a pretty large bucket. You know, I would suspect, you know, you could probably put a 54-inch bucket on it and it'd be pretty good. But you know, this is great for moving dirt and mulch, but I need to work on this bucket. That'll be like a whole montage video where I'll just hammer it out. I had to do a lot of hammering here. Bent that back. That was more bulbous, and I had to beat it down, and I had to do the same here. And yeah, yep, no cracks yet. It's all mounted in there. As you can see, I ran out of cotter pins and used a nail. Did that on both of those. So it fit pretty well. I thought it was funny when I turned it over, you could see exactly where I welded that side and that side. I guess that means I got a good penetration of the weld. I'm not sure. And just look at this bucket. It's been repaired before with a piece of angle iron, so I might weld that up. And got a lot to do on this thing. There's a bow in it. Where's my level? Look at the difference. There's like a good 4-inch bow in the middle. Yeah, I'm thinking I could take a chain tightener, clip it here, and maybe weld something there for it to clip to, and tighten it up, and maybe that'd take that bow out. I'm not sure. It might just spring back in place. But I'm ready for some tests. I'm gonna scrape some, do maybe about an hour worth of work, and see if I break any welds. If I break some welds, you know, that's to be expected. But as long as I don't break them all and it doesn't fall off, that'd be awesome. Anyway, it's all done. So I'm testing my welds by doing a bucket stand. Got the front tires off. I'm actually going to fill up the front tires. One of them's a little low. So far no cracks. And you can see how woppy jog that bucket is. That middle hits first, not that side first. So really need to straighten that out. Let's start with where it did break. All these welds obviously have been broken all the way around. Mostly because the bucket's kind of twisted. When you put hydraulics on it, something's going to break. Well, see actually where this whole segment fit right in there and broke like that. And then this is right here. I guess I didn't get good penetration with those welds. So yeah, that's the main area to fix, and then secondary is this. Yep. Ooh, she was starting there. She was starting there. Maybe weld it and bolt it. That sounds like a good idea. This I'm going to have to do something different with. Because this completely tore out. I'm going to have to maybe take a piece of flat iron and weld it to the back. Cut a hole in it for this to stay